Hey all, welcome to the Voices of Data Protection. I'm your host Bhavanesh Rangarajan and I'm a Principal Program Manager at Microsoft. This series will feature the leaders, program managers from Microsoft and experts from the industry to share details about the latest solution and processes to help you manage your data, keep it safe and stay compliant. In this very first episode, I will talk with Rudy Mitra, Vice President of Compliance Solutions at Microsoft 365. Rudy has been with Microsoft for more than 20 years, helping organizations keep data safe and minimize risk. Rudy and I will discuss how the pandemic and remote work have accelerated the need for compliance, how organizations are navigating this new landscape, and how Microsoft is developing a strong solution roadmap to help organizations and people succeed in these unprecedented times. Let's get started. Thank you, Rudy, for taking time to speak with us today. Please give us a quick introduction of your role in M365 compliance and your charter.
Hey, Bobby, how's it going? I'm Rudy Mitra, the Vice President of Compliance Solutions at Microsoft 365, and looking forward to having this chat, Bobby.
That's great, Rudy. Would you quickly cover your areas of operation and talk about your team as well?
Yeah, sure. At Microsoft 365, with our compliance solutions, we think about areas such as data governance, data protection, insider risk management, which we can probably go into a little bit more, discovering content and auditing the access to content, and then, of course, compliance management to round it out, all geared towards keeping enterprise data safe, secure, and helping organizations work on risk, reducing risk.
That's great, Rudy. So let me ask you this question. How has compliance as a scene evolved since the pandemic and switching to working from home? And how are you thinking or reassessing the roadmap in these unprecedented tough times?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Of course, we all find ourselves in these sort of unprecedented times, and organizations are, looking to react, as the workforce goes remote. And so, a couple of things are coming forward as we sort of listen to customers, as we talk to them. With remote work, it's all about sort of where the organization's data is now, located, where it's flowing as we work from home. There's lots of questions in organizations' mind about how to keep their data secure, but also ensure employees can stay as productive as possible, not put up, walls to their productivity. So that's sort of one key theme that we continue to hear and react to. Also things like making sure the risk from communications, which are now happening more in the digital medium, like us talking to each other versus the cooler talk or in other places. There's a lot more of that going on, meaning that there could potentially be risks with that data, what's talked about, what's in email, what's in chats. So covering those bases for compliance, making sure, if there's anything that needs to be discovered or flagged or protected, that's another key theme through all of this.
Since I heard you say that you're looking into information protection, governance, and insider risk management as some of the key pillars, what are some of the core concerns or struggles that you hear from our customers and what they seem to feel that, they do not have a solution around today?
The intellectual property of an organization, right, intuitively is the thing that they are trying to be protective of. That's the place where compliance really is important to make sure that their intellectual property is safe. They know where it is. As workers for the enterprise access that data from home, what devices is it on? It could be unmanaged. It could be unmanaged. So that information protection need for these core assets is the key requirement we hear. When you think about areas like data loss prevention, very geared towards making sure that what is important for the company stays within the enterprise's control. They know where it's going, particularly in this distributed environment. And then, of course, where company secrets are involved, where company intellectual property is involved, being able to classify that content, being able to say what's the important information from what's the non-important information. is so important now to be able to make sure you can protect that 5% of data, 2% of data, 10% of data from everything else that's more data in the organization. And just to put this in perspective, by some measures, it's estimated that we are now doubling the digital data for an organization, large or small, every couple of years with continued acceleration on it, which means the volume of data that you're trying to figure out your intellectual property out of, protect it, whether that's patient records, whether that's tax forms, whether that's blueprints for manufacturing, financial records. Very important to think about the scale aspects of it and being able to protect what's important from maybe all the other digital data that's floating around.
Wow, that's really exciting given, the kind of business that we are in. Given all these things, Rudy, so how does your roadmap look to address all these concerns for your customers?
Great question, Bhavi. What we feel at Microsoft is that this explosion of data combined with the trend of remote work just brings to forefront the need for automated solutions that leverage the best of machine learning and AI to assist with the protection of data, with the identification when there are insider risks. And what we've really leaned in on is solutions that are ML and AI powered so that these can scale. It's very different when you're trying to do this at small scale versus really the scale at which businesses operate today, large or small. We talked a little bit about the volume of data. And in that context, automation is super important. So that's sort of number one. Number two for our solutions is being part of the productivity experience for users, end users. It's very easy to sort of say, I'm going to protect data that no one ever accesses, right? I can lock it up in a vault and protect it. But what's the fun in that? Then there's no productivity, but it's 100% secure. And so this balance of experiences that are geared towards productivity and security and protection and compliance is important. This is sort of number two on our sort of areas of focus, which is balancing productivity and protection. And then number three is sort of our partners and the work that we do with our ecosystem to make sure that this is not just protection for Microsoft data, but for all data, because an enterprise is messy. It has data in different places. And so really being expansive in our protection solutions is important as well.
Wow, that's so nice, Rudy. And Rudy, I think I'm going to throw you a curveball. I know I'm slightly going to go off the script because this is something that we hear from customer. It'll be good to get your perspective as well. As a customer, let's say that if they are using a very manually operated system today, like you have manual labeling working on sensitivity and retention, what kind of suggestion would you give them so that they can basically increase their productivity by moving towards your automated solution, like auto labeling using sensitive information type or machine learning algorithms or AI? So what would be your top 3 steps that you would suggest to them to move from here to there?
Yeah, great question, Bhavi. The idea of starting small with data loss prevention, maybe starting with data classification in a mode where they can see where the sensitive data is located. That's sort of how we approach this question with customers. It's very daunting maybe to think about going from having no information protection solution to a fully deployed solution, overnight. And so, as you correctly pointed out in your question, how do you take this a step at a time? With Microsoft 365, the fact that this is data loss prevention built into Teams, this is built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, SharePoint, gives you as an organization the control to start small, see how you can roll out data loss prevention first, or see your insights on sensitive data first in these different repositories where data may be located. And from there, kind of build on different policies. And with manual data labeling classification, back to your question, you're sort of still seeing an incomplete picture. But what you can do is augment that with the automation behind the scenes, run that in sort of test mode, run that in simulation mode, see what shows up, and then go from there. So that's sort of one part of it. If I may take the liberty, I'd kind of extend the question a little bit to also say that, the work that we've been doing in insider risk management, where We try to think about risks from people within the organization. And just to put that in context, over 90% of organizations we surveyed and talked to say that they are worried about insider risks, and more than 50% of those risks are inadvertent, meaning that this isn't a malicious scenario. It's just an accidental leakage of data. It's an accidental overexposure of data. So when you use the automation, when you use the controls that we build into Microsoft 365 and then let you extend across your entire digital estate, you sort of see more of the picture light up, whether that's where the data is located with our Know Your Data products, or where the sensitive data is that you need to protect, or data loss prevention solutions need to be put on the endpoint or the apps. So the automation can really be a staged rollout that augments what you may be doing already with manual controls.
So Rudy, I think your last few statement basically hits it out of the park. The way in which I would like to summarize this is all of your compliance initiatives are totally focused towards trying to stop the accidental oversharing and breach of data. That's how it kind of sums up in my head.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Bhavi. When we're all remote, it's a very interesting time we're all working in. It's work in this remote environment, and we've got so many things going on. Just to kind of bring it at home, for me, I'm juggling the kids at home, and trying to be productive in the work I'm doing. I'm multitasking all the time. And so making a mistake with the handling of the company's data, the enterprise data, it's not going to be something for me that's potentially malicious. It's going to be an accident. And so, yes, being automated to sort of be there to help someone and catch those kinds of scenarios and protect those scenarios, that's the very likely set of scenarios and where we hear the customer need and want to be there to help them with it.
That's great. I know you are in this amazing journey as a compliance team, and you look forward to a greater ride over the next few months, given all these unprecedented times. I would like to really say thanks a lot, Rudy, for taking time out to talk with me in this first podcast. I look forward to talking to a lot of your leaders in your organization to understand how the products are being shaped to help address customer concerns. Thanks, Rudy.
Yeah, and thanks for taking the time, Bhavi. It was fun talking to you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Voices of Data Protection. To learn more about this episode, visit our show page for links and resources about all that we discussed at aka.ms/Voices of Data Protection. If you like this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues and subscribe to the show. In our next episode, I'll be talking with Maithili Dandige. She is the Group Program Manager for Information Protection at Microsoft, and Joel Olison. He was the very first SharePoint administrator and is currently with Perficient as Director of Microsoft National Practice. We'd be talking about the main challenges organizations are facing with this new plethora of data sources and how they are adapting to these new circumstances, and the latest in the suite of information protection solutions and capabilities that Microsoft has been working on. Keep up with the latest on data protection and compliance by visiting aka.ms/Voices of Data Protection. See you all then. Bye.